Easy Sleep English. Relax and learn. Hey friends, let me ask you something. Every country has stories about how the world began. In Greece, the gods lived on Mount Olympus. In China, Pangu created heaven and earth. But Japan is different, very different. Their creation story is unlike anything else in the world. Their ancient customs would shock most cultures. Their family traditions break all the rules we know. Tonight, I want to take you on a strange journey, a journey into Japan's unique history and culture. Some things will surprise you. Some things will confuse you, but all of it is real. All of it is history. Get comfortable. Take a slow breath, and let's explore the strange world of ancient Japan. Every culture has a creation myth, a story about how the world began. Japan's creation story is written in two ancient books, the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki. These are Japan's oldest history books, written over 300 years ago. The story goes like this. In the beginning, there were two gods, a brother named Izanagi, a sister named Izanami. The heavenly gods sent them down to create the world. And here's where things get unusual. The brother and sister became husband and wife. Together, they created the islands of Japan. They also gave birth to many gods, the gods of mountains, seas, and wind. Now, in most cultures, this would be shocking. Brother and sister, married. But in Japan's ancient mythology, this was normal. It was the beginning of everything. And this attitude toward family relationships, it would influence Japan for thousands of years. Japan's imperial family is the oldest royal family in the world. They claim to descend directly from the gods. Specifically, from Amaterasu, the sun goddess. Because of this, they believed their blood was sacred, divine, pure, and to keep it pure, they often married within the family. The ancient records are shocking. In the first 33 generations of emperors, there were 11 marriages between brothers and sisters. In 22 generations of male emperors, 17 had empresses who were blood relatives, sisters, cousins, even aunts. This wasn't just the imperial family. Noble families did the same thing. They married within their own clans. Not just cousins, but closer relatives too. They believed this kept their bloodlines pure. This created very complicated family trees. Sometimes, a person could be someone's brother, and also their uncle, and also their grandfather, all at the same time. The family relationships became incredibly confusing. This is also why Japan had female emperors, because everyone in the family had similar blood. It didn't matter as much whether the ruler was male or female. Japan has had 8 female emperors throughout history. This was rare in most Asian countries. Here's something interesting about Japanese mythology. In most cultures, the sun god is male, Apollo in Greece, Ra in Egypt, Surya in India. But in Japan, the sun god is female. Her name is Amaterasu. Amaterasu was born from the god Izanagi. She became the ruler of the heavens. She is the most important god in the Shinto religion, and the Japanese emperors claim to be her descendants. Why is Japan's sun deity female? Scholars believe it's because ancient Japan was matriarchal. That means women held more power than in other societies. In very ancient times, Japanese women could own property, choose their partners, hold important positions. This changed over time, but traces of this ancient system remained in their mythology. Ancient Japan had a very unusual marriage system. It was called sumadoi, visiting marriage. Here's how it worked. The husband and wife didn't live together. They each stayed in their own family's home. At night, the husband would visit the wife. In the morning, he would return to his own home. This system gave both partners a lot of freedom. The husband might visit different women. The wife might receive different visitors. There was no concept of cheating as we know it. It was simply how things worked. This system lasted for centuries. Even after Japan adopted more Chinese-style marriages, the old attitudes remained. Husbands and wives had separate lives. They didn't monitor each other closely. This visiting marriage system finally started changing around the 14th century. That's when Japan began adopting the style of marriage we know today. But even then, the old attitudes didn't fully disappear. For many centuries, Japanese villages had a custom. It was called yobai, which means night crawling. This was common in farming communities. Here's how it worked. Young men, usually after age 15, could visit young women at night. They would enter through windows or doors. If the woman accepted him, they would spend the night together. If not, he would leave quietly. This might sound shocking to us, but in these communities, it was normal. It was even encouraged. Villages believed it helped young people find partners. It also helped with community bonds. For young women, participating was expected. If a girl didn't receive visitors, her family might be embarrassed. It was seen as a sign that she wasn't popular. This custom was officially banned in the 1860s, but in some rural areas, it continued for another 100 years. Some researchers found evidence of it as late as the 1960s. Another related custom was communal gatherings. During harvest festivals, villagers would gather in large halls. These were overnight events. The purpose was to celebrate and to strengthen community bonds in ways that other cultures would find very unusual. Japan has a famous bathing culture: hot springs, public baths, family baths. But their attitudes about bathing are different from most countries. For most of Japanese history, mixed bathing was common. Men and women bathed together in the same pools. This was considered natural, normal, not something to be embarrassed about. Even today, some traditional hot springs allow mixed bathing. In family homes, it's common for families to share bath time, parents and children, sometimes even grandparents. This isn't seen as strange in Japanese culture. Foreign visitors have always been surprised by this. In the 1800s, Western visitors wrote about their shock. They couldn't understand how Japanese people were so casual about nudity. But for Japanese people, the body was natural. Bathing was practical, social, and relaxing. There was nothing shameful about it. In the 1700s and 1800s, Korean diplomats visited Japan. They wrote detailed reports about what they saw. Their observations give us a window into old Japan. One official named Kim Il-sung visited in 1763. He was shocked by what he saw. He wrote that women were very forward. They would openly approach foreign men. They showed no embarrassment about their bodies. He called Japanese customs very different from Korean customs. Other Korean officials had similar experiences. They wrote books about their travels, hating Jeguk, Donka, Rock. All these books describe Japan's unusual social customs. The officials were especially surprised by one thing: Japanese people didn't seem to have the same concept of shame. At least, not about bodies and relationships. What Korean and Chinese cultures considered private Japanese culture considered natural. This wasn't because Japanese people were bad. It was simply a different cultural value system. They had developed differently from their neighbors. Now let's talk about something lighter. Japanese family names. They are unusual. In Japan, there are over 290,000 different family names. About 140,000 are still in use today. Compare this to China, which has only a few hundred common surnames. Or Korea, which has even fewer. Why does Japan have so many names? The answer goes back to 1875. Before that year, ordinary people didn't have family names. Only nobles and samurai had surnames. Farmers, merchants, craftsmen. They just had first names. Then the government made a new law. Everyone must have a family name. Now, but most people were farmers. Most couldn't read or write. They had no idea what name to choose. So they picked names based on where they lived. Living near a big bridge. Your name is Ohashi, a big bridge. Living in the mountains. Your name is Yamamoto, so mountain-based. Living by the rice fields. Your name is Tanaka, rice field middle. But here's where it gets funny. Some people picked very strange names, either as jokes or because officials played tricks on them. Some real Japanese surnames include Magosaki, which sounds like my grandchild, Buta, which means pig, Yushifan, which means cow dung, and many more that are even stranger. These names have been passed down for generations. Today, some Japanese people have very awkward surnames. But changing your family name is not easy. So they keep these unusual names. Japanese families have an interesting tradition. The first son is very, very important. The second son, not so much. In traditional Japanese families, the first son sits at the head of the table with his father. The first son inherits the family business. The first son carries on the family name. Other sons are called second sons, even if they're third or fourth. They are all less important. This isn't just about inheritance. The treatment was very different. Second sons had to call their older brother master or sir. They couldn't look him in the eye as equals. In some regions, second sons couldn't even get married. They had to serve their older brother their whole lives. Why was this system so extreme? Some historians say it's because Japan has limited resources. If a farm was divided among all sons, each piece would be too small to survive, so everything went to one son. The others had to find their own way. This created the famous Ronin, masterless samurai. Many Ronin were actually second or third sons. They couldn't inherit their family's position, so they wandered Japan looking for work. Even today, this attitude exists in Japan. Some women say they won't marry a first son. Why? Because first sons must live with their parents. They must take care of family duties. Second sons have more freedom. They can start fresh, on their own terms. Here's another unusual thing about Japan. They don't care much about blood relationships. At least, not when it comes to adoption. In China and Korea, adoption usually happens within the family. If you need an heir, you adopt your brother's son. This keeps the bloodline pure. But in Japan, they adopt anyone. If a businessman finds a talented employee, he might adopt that employee as his son, even if the employee is already an adult, even if the businessman has biological children. The famous Kikkoman soy sauce company, many of their leaders were adopted from outside the family. The Toyota family, same thing. Many Japanese business families do this. For them, family is like a company. Blood doesn't matter as much as ability. If someone talented can lead the family better, they become family. This is why many Japanese family businesses last for centuries. They're not limited by blood. They choose the best person for the job, even if that person was born to a different family. So, friends, what did we learn tonight? Japan is different. Not better, not worse, just different. Their creation myths are unique. Their marriage customs were unusual. Their family structures break many rules we know. But here's the thing, every culture develops based on its own history, its own geography, its own challenges. Japan is an island nation. For most of history, they were isolated from the rest of the world. They developed their own solutions to life's problems. Some of their traditions seem strange to us, but to them, our traditions might seem equally strange. That's the beauty of studying history. We learn that there are many ways to be human, many ways to organize society, many ways to think about family, work, and life. Japan's history is like a mirror. It shows us that what we consider normal is just one possibility among many. Okay, friends, the story is finished now. The night is getting deeper. We traveled far tonight, to ancient Japan, to strange customs, to different ways of living. But now it's time to rest. Let your mind relax. All those unusual facts and stories, let them drift away like leaves on a river. You don't need to remember everything. You don't need to understand everything. Just let it go. Feel your body getting heavy. Feel your thoughts getting soft, like cherry blossoms falling gently to the ground, slowly, peacefully, into quiet dreams, sweet dreams. See you next time.